If you crack an egg into a screaming hot pan and walk away until it turns brown and rubbery, you may be destroying one of the most powerful vision protective foods nature ever created, and most people never realize the damage they're doing until it's too late. Eggs have been called a perfect food for the human eye, not because of protein, not because of calories, but because they contain two rare carotenoids, lutein and zeaxanthin, that literally accumulate in the retina and form a protective shield over your vision. These compounds concentrate in the macula, the part of the eye responsible for sharp, detailed sight, and decades of research show that higher levels of lutein and zeaxanthin are directly associated with a lower risk of age-related macular degeneration, the leading cause of blindness in adults over 60. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Lutein and zeaxanthin are extremely sensitive to heat, and when eggs are overcooked, fried aggressively, or browned until crispy, those molecules begin to break apart, oxidize, and lose their biological activity. What makes this especially dangerous is that vision loss doesn't happen overnight. It happens silently, slowly, over years, while people believe they're eating healthy eggs every morning. Studies using retinal imaging show that people with higher dietary intake of intact lutein have thicker macular pigment, which acts like internal sunglasses, filtering out harmful blue light that accelerates retinal aging. But when eggs are cooked at excessively high temperatures, research demonstrates a measurable reduction in carotenoid bioavailability, meaning even if the nutrient is technically present, your body can no longer absorb or use it efficiently. This is especially alarming for older adults because aging already reduces digestive efficiency, antioxidant defenses, and retinal repair mechanisms. Overcooking eggs compounds that vulnerability. There's also a hidden chemical reaction most people never hear about. When egg proteins are exposed to high heat, they form advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These compounds increase oxidative stress and inflammation throughout the body, including in the delicate blood vessels of the eyes. Elevated AGEs have been linked to cataracts, diabetic retinopathy, and accelerated retinal aging. So the same egg that could protect your vision can quietly contribute to its decline if it's cooked the wrong way day after day, year after year. Scientists studying nutrient retention consistently find that gentle cooking methods preserve the highest concentration of eye protective compounds. Soft-boiled eggs retain significantly more lutein than hard-fried eggs. Poached eggs outperform scrambled eggs cooked at high heat. Low-temperature scrambling preserves antioxidant structure while maintaining protein digestibility. This matters because lutein from eggs is already more bioavailable than lutein from vegetables, due to the natural fat content in the yolk. But once that yolk is overheated, the advantage disappears. You're left with protein and calories, but the vision-saving compounds are largely gone. There's a cruel irony here. Many people overcook eggs because they believe it makes them safer, healthier, or easier to digest. In reality, overcooking can make egg proteins harder to digest, increase oxidative stress, and destroy the very nutrients older eyes desperately need. The retina is one of the most metabolically active tissues in the entire body, constantly exposed to light, oxygen, and free radicals. Without sufficient antioxidants, damage accumulates faster than the body can repair it. Lutein and zeaxanthin act as frontline defenders, neutralizing free radicals before they injure retinal cells. Remove those defenders through excessive heat, and the eyes are left exposed. What's even more unsettling is that modern life amplifies this risk. Screens, LED lighting, and prolonged indoor exposure bombard the eyes with blue light at levels humans never experienced historically. Research shows blue light penetrates deep into the retina, accelerating oxidative damage and inflammation. Lutein and zeaxanthin selectively absorb blue light, reducing its harmful impact. Seniors who lose these nutrients due to poor cooking habits are essentially removing their last line of defense against a digital environment their eyes were never designed for. And this isn't theoretical. Clinical trials have shown that increasing dietary lutein improves visual acuity, contrast sensitivity, and glare recovery, even in older adults. But those benefits depend on the nutrient reaching the retina intact. Heat damage interrupts that pathway. The difference between a softly cooked egg and an overcooked one isn't taste. It's whether the food still functions as biological protection or becomes nutritionally hollow. The tragedy is that the solution is simple, quiet, and almost boring. Lower heat, shorter cooking time, respecting the chemistry of food, A softly cooked egg allows the yolk to remain vibrant, the fat stable, and the antioxidants functional. It preserves the molecular structure that your eyes rely on for defense and repair. This is not about culinary preference, it's about preserving sight. As people age, vision loss is often accepted as inevitable, as if it were a natural tax of getting older. But research shows lifestyle choices profoundly influence how quickly vision declines. Nutrition is one of the most powerful variables, and eggs, when cooked correctly, are one of the most efficient tools we have. Overcook them, and you erase that advantage. Cook them gently, and you reinforce the retina's resilience against time, light, and inflammation. Every meal is a signal to the body. When you scorch an egg, the signal is stress, oxidation, and loss. When you cook it gently, the signal is protection, repair, and preservation. The difference may not show up today or tomorrow, but years from now, when reading becomes harder, when night driving feels unsafe, when faces lose clarity, those daily choices will have already written their outcome. Eggs can help safeguard vision, but only if they're treated with care. Once the heat goes too high, the damage is done, and the eyes are the ones that pay the price. For decades, people have been taught to fear the egg yolk, to scrape it away, discard it, or avoid it entirely, believing they were making a healthier choice when in reality they were throwing away the most powerful part of the egg and quietly depriving their body of nutrients that the brain, the eyes, and aging muscles depend on to survive. The egg white is protein, but the yolk is life support. The yolk is where nature concentrates survival nutrients meant to grow a brain, build a nervous system, and protect vision from the very first stages of life. When seniors remove the yolk, they are not eating a lighter egg, they are eating an incomplete one. Inside the yolk is choline, a nutrient so essential that it is used to build acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter responsible for memory, learning, and muscle control. Research shows that low choline intake is associated with faster cognitive decline, poorer memory performance, and increased risk of neurodegenerative disease. The human brain is nearly 60% fat, and without adequate fat-based nutrients like choline, it cannot maintain its structure or signaling capacity. Egg yolks are one of the richest natural sources of choline in the human diet, yet surveys show that the majority of adults, especially older adults, fail to meet even the minimum daily requirement. Skipping the yolk accelerates that deficiency silently. The yolk is also where lutein and zeaxanthin live, two carotenoids that do not just float through the bloodstream, but physically embed themselves into the retina and the brain. Imaging studies have revealed that lutein is the dominant carotenoid found in the aging brain, suggesting it plays a direct role in cognitive protection. Higher yolk-derived lutein intake has been associated with better processing speed, sharper memory, and improved executive function in older adults. When the yolk is removed, these compounds are almost entirely lost, and no amount of egg whites can replace them. Vitamin A, another yolk-exclusive nutrient, is critical for vision, immune defense, and cellular repair. Deficiency in vitamin A doesn't always show up as immediate blindness. It often begins with poor night vision, slower visual adaptation, and increased eye fatigue. Over time, this deficiency weakens the retina's ability to respond to light and increases vulnerability to degeneration. Egg yolk vitamin A is highly bioavailable, meaning the body can absorb and use it efficiently, especially compared to plant-based sources that require conversion. Removing the yolk cuts off this supply completely. Then there are the fats, long demonized, yet absolutely essential. The fats in egg yolks are not random calories. They are structural components of cell membranes, nerve insulation, and hormone production. As people age, their ability to synthesize hormones declines, their joints dry out, and their nervous system becomes more fragile. Healthy dietary fats slow this process. Studies show that older adults who consume whole eggs experience better muscle protein synthesis than those who consume egg whites alone, because the yolk contains signaling lipids that activate muscle-building pathways. This matters profoundly for seniors, because muscle loss is one of the strongest predictors of frailty, falls, and loss of independence. The fear of cholesterol drove an entire generation away from egg yolks, yet modern research has dismantled that fear. Large population studies show that dietary cholesterol from eggs has little to no impact on blood cholesterol levels for the vast majority of people. The liver tightly regulates cholesterol production, adjusting output based on intake. In fact, removing yolks can backfire because the body may compensate by increasing internal cholesterol synthesis, while losing the protective nutrients that help manage inflammation and oxidation. Ironically, egg yolks also contain phospholipids that help improve cholesterol particle size, shifting LDL from small, dense, more dangerous forms to larger, less harmful ones. What makes this even more unsettling is that seniors are the group that needs yolks the most. Aging increases oxidative stress, inflammation, and nutrient malabsorption. Egg yolks deliver a dense package of fat-soluble vitamins in a form that aging digestive systems can actually absorb. Vitamin D, found primarily in the yolk, plays a role not only in bone health but also in immune regulation, muscle strength, and mood stability. Low vitamin D levels are linked to increased fall risk, depression, and immune dysfunction in older adults. Removing the yolk removes one of the few natural dietary sources of this hormone-like vitamin. The brain does not age gracefully without support. Neuroimaging studies show that higher intake of yolk-derived nutrients correlates with slower brain shrinkage over time. This matters because brain volume loss is associated with memory decline, slower reaction time, and impaired coordination. The yolk provides sphingomyelin, a fat critical for maintaining the myelin sheath that insulates nerves and allows electrical signals to travel quickly. Loss of myelin is a hallmark of cognitive decline. Egg whites cannot replace this. Supplements often fail to deliver it effectively. The yolk does it naturally. There is also a psychological cost to avoiding yolks. Diets that strip away fats and micronutrients often increase cravings, blood sugar swings, and energy crashes. Whole eggs stabilize appetite, reduce the urge to snack, and support metabolic health. Stable blood sugar protects the brain and the eyes from glycation damage, a process that stiffens tissues and accelerates aging. Removing the yolk removes this stabilizing effect and pushes the body toward metabolic stress. The most disturbing part is how quiet this damage is. No alarm goes off when someone throws away a yolk. There is no immediate symptom. The decline unfolds slowly across years until memory falters, vision dims, muscles weaken, and fatigue becomes normal. At that point, people look for solutions in pills, procedures, and prescriptions, unaware that a simple daily choice removed one of the most efficient nutritional tools they had. Nature designed the egg as a complete system. The yolk feeds the brain, the eyes, the nerves, and the muscles. The white protects and supports that system with protein. Separating them breaks the design. For seniors, this is not a minor dietary tweak. It is the difference between nourishment and deficiency. Eating the whole egg is not indulgence. It is alignment with biology. The yolk is not the enemy. It is the safeguard people were told to fear, and the cost of that fear is paid in silence, one discarded yolk at a time. The egg itself is not the danger, but what you eat it with can quietly turn a powerful health food into a daily source of inflammation. And this is where most people unknowingly sabotage their own bodies. For decades, eggs have been paired with bacon, sausage, ham, and processed breakfast meats, a combination that feels traditional and comforting. Yet modern science paints a far darker picture of what happens inside the body when this pairing becomes routine. Eggs are rich in antioxidants, healthy fats, and nutrients designed to protect cells from damage. But processed meats introduce compounds that actively accelerate the very damage eggs are meant to prevent. This collision happens at the molecular level, long before symptoms appear. Processed meats are preserved using nitrates, nitrites, and high-temperature curing methods that generate compounds called nitrosamines. These chemicals are strongly associated with oxidative stress, endothelial damage, and chronic inflammation. When inflammation rises, the body's demand for antioxidants skyrockets. The lutein and zeaxanthin in eggs, which should be protecting the eyes and brain, are instead diverted to neutralize damage caused by the meat itself. It's like hiring a security system and then opening all the doors at once. Over time, the protective effect of eggs is canceled out, not because eggs are harmful, but because their biological role has been overwhelmed. Research consistently shows that diets high in processed meats are associated with increased risk of cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and cognitive decline. These outcomes are driven largely by inflammation and oxidative damage to blood vessels. The eyes and brain are especially vulnerable because they rely on delicate microvascular systems. When these vessels stiffen or inflame, nutrient delivery declines. Pairing eggs with processed meats repeatedly exposes these systems to oxidative stress, reducing blood flow to the retina and brain over time. This doesn't cause immediate pain or warning signs. It causes gradual loss of function. There is also a metabolic consequence that few people consider. Processed meats are often high in sodium and low in potassium, creating an electrolyte imbalance that stresses the cardiovascular system. Eggs, when paired with vegetables rich in potassium and magnesium, support vascular relaxation and healthy blood pressure. But when paired with salty processed meats, the body enters a state of vascular tension. Blood pressure rises, arterial walls stiffen, and the nutrients from eggs struggle to reach the tissues they are meant to nourish. The same egg eaten in two different contexts produces radically different outcomes inside the body. Then there is the issue of iron. Processed meats contain heme-iron, which in excess promotes the formation of free radicals. Free radicals damage lipids, proteins, and DNA. Eggs contain fats that are particularly vulnerable to oxidation when free radical load is high. This creates a chain reaction where the meal itself becomes pro-oxidative rather than protective. Studies show that high heme iron intake is associated with increased markers of oxidative stress and inflammation, particularly in older adults. Pairing eggs with iron-heavy processed meats accelerates this effect. Contrast this with what happens when eggs are paired with vegetables. Leafy greens like spinach, kale, and arugula provide additional lutein, vitamin C, and polyphenols that reinforce the antioxidant network. Tomatoes add lycopene, which works synergistically with egg yolk fats to improve absorption and reduce oxidative stress. Mushrooms supply ergothioneine, a rare antioxidant linked to reduced cellular aging. In this context, eggs act as nutrient amplifiers, increasing the bioavailability of plant compounds while benefiting from their protective effects. The same egg that struggled to defend against processed meat suddenly becomes part of a powerful anti-inflammatory system. Healthy fats tell a similar story. When eggs are cooked in olive oil, avocado oil, or grass-fed butter, fat-soluble nutrients are absorbed efficiently and inflammation remains low. Olive oil contains oleocanthal, a compound shown to have anti-inflammatory effects similar to low-dose ibuprofen. This directly supports the protective role of eggs. But when eggs are paired with processed meats cooked at high temperatures, lipid oxidation increases dramatically. Oxidized fats damage blood vessels and accelerate aging. Again, the egg is not the problem. The environment it is eaten in determines its effect. This matters even more for seniors because aging reduces resilience. Inflammation that a younger body might recover from becomes cumulative damage in older adults. Chronic low-grade inflammation, sometimes called inflammaging, is a major driver of vision loss, muscle wasting, joint pain, and cognitive decline. Eggs have the potential to slow this process, but only when they are not constantly forced to counteract inflammatory foods. Pairing eggs with processed meats is like pressing the gas and the brake at the same time. The system wears out faster. There is also a gut health angle that rarely gets discussed. Processed meats negatively alter the gut microbiome, increasing bacteria associated with inflammation. Eggs, on the other hand, contain compounds that support satiety and metabolic balance. When the microbiome shifts toward inflammation, nutrient absorption declines, immune signaling becomes distorted, and systemic inflammation increases. This affects everything from insulin sensitivity to eye health. The benefits of eggs cannot fully manifest in an inflamed gut environment. Perhaps the most unsettling part is how normalized this pairing has become. Breakfast menus, advertisements, and cultural habits reinforce it daily. People believe they are eating a protein-rich, satisfying meal, unaware that long-term studies consistently associate processed meat consumption with increased mortality risk. Eggs are dragged into guilt by association. People blame the egg when blood markers worsen, not realizing the processed meat was the primary driver. The alternative is not deprivation, it is redirection. Eggs paired with vegetables, herbs, and healthy fats create meals that stabilize blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and deliver nutrients where they are needed most. This combination supports the eyes by preserving macular pigments, supports the brain by maintaining blood flow, and supports muscles by improving protein utilization. These benefits accumulate slowly but powerfully. Food combinations are biological instructions. Every meal tells the body what state to enter. Pair eggs with processed meats, and the message is stress, defense, and damage control. Pair eggs with plants and healthy fats, and the message is repair, protection, and longevity. Over years, those messages shape health outcomes more than any single nutrient ever could. Eggs are not magic, but they are honest. They reflect the company they keep. When paired wisely, they support vision, cognition, and strength. When paired poorly, their benefits are drowned out by inflammation. The difference is not subtle over time. It is the difference between nourishment and quiet harm, repeated daily, until the body finally reveals the cost.